Hello, my name is Joseph Carlson, and this is episode 25 of the Tabletop Experiment. Oh, episode 35 of the Tabletop Experiment. This is Dragonlance part 26. I was wrong on all those numbers. This is just a check-in episode because I was going to wait until you guys were like level, I think, 10. But looking at the module, that'll finish out the module. So I wanted to check in with you guys. There's only 3 chapters left of the module. And so I wanted to check in with you guys. One, show off the new overlay we're doing because I like this a lot better. It gives more space to Tailspire. We want to start using Tailspire more. And then, obviously, want you guys to have a good time. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm checking in with you guys. So that way, everybody's having a good time. If you guys want me to change something, I can change something. Swami, I saw him at work. He said, "Oh boy, I got notes for you, Joe." And he got excited and he giggled. So I have no idea what he is going to want that is going to be different. But I'm excited. So what we'll do is, what do you think needs to be improved? We'll start right there. Oh, again, sorry, we're joined once again by Christian on the bottom, my bottom left, Jesse in the middle-ish, Todd in the far right middle-ish, and then Feyd maybe will join later. He'll be on the right. But yeah, so Swami, since you had something you wanted me to change, what do you want me to change? Look, he's smiling right now. What do you want? What do you want me to change?
More in battles, in a sense of terrain,
More
places
combat?
to hide.
Oh.
Levels.
Yes.
Oh,
You know
like
what I mean?
verticality.
Yes, so we can get height or trees or rocks or something, or just
I've mentioned that before too. It's an ability to perform tactical play
yes,
on the map.
yes,
All right.
yes. Like
So-
I'm behind a rock and I use my minor illusion to create a copy of me in an open field, so they think I'm over there, but little do they know I'm behind a rock. Type of thing.
Or there's I don't know. Let's take game logic. Exploding barrels near where they are, and
I'm with that.
they patrol by them, and then there's just these red barrels, and it could be like we learned about red barrels the previous session, and then now there's red barrels. We don't know what they are, but we know that they're exploding.
Well, I mean,
or
the
choke points.
the,
I know.
any logic in anything says that red barrels are explosive. I mean, that's just, it's like air.
Yeah.
Like you breathe in
Yeah.
air, you breathe
Doesn't
like
need to be explained.
barrels explode.
like
yeah.
or like rocks that you can hit that will tumble down and make a rock
Well,
landslide.
to
something
be
like that.
honest, like I know some of the combat's been like in an open plane or like whatever, but you can ask me those questions. I mean, in the last raided catacombs thing, there was statues and things around the Sarlamir. You could have said, "Hey, can I shoot that with firebolt?" Or like, tell Jesse like, because Eldritch Blast is like a force spell. You can say, "Hey, can you knock over that pillar and see if we can do like, damage to him?" You could look at the environment and say, because this is D&D. Whatever you come up with, like I don't like to tell you guys no a lot. So if you see like something that you're like, I want to knock that over, or I want to like tell me, say like I want to hide. Like you've done it before. Like when you guys are fighting in the woods, you're like, I shoot and then I hide behind the tree, But like you can say, I want to. There is spells like you could talk to Feyd. He's got that Molder spell. It's like, hey, give me like a wall or something, and I'll hide behind it. Or I mean, you guys can talk about that kind of stuff before you get into combat. So like, I'll definitely write that down. Like we've kind of been, fighting on like an even plane. I can add elevation. I mean, you guys are going after somebody that's trying to raise a flying city to use it as a weapon. I mean, that was the end of the thing. And so there will be some verticality to that. So, flying. But you, Swami, can totally ask me that, looking at the environment in Tailspire and saying, can I knock that wall out? Can I hit that statue over? There's a chandelier I'm seeing up. We're in a library. I want to knock that over. I want to hit the guys. I mean, that's such an old school movie thing, but you can totally do that. I'm not going to tell you no. Unless you get like a 1 and I'm like, well, you caught yourself on fire with your fireball. I wouldn't say that. But I'm saying, unless you totally failed. Stuff like that in the environment doesn't have a high AC and it's easy to hit. So really, again, like I try to make these maps and I think about the combat, but I do pick the combat maps for a reason of like, oh, you're in a tomb, well, that guy made that one. But like the ones, it's like you're having combat in the woods. There is elevation that goes down. There's these rocks here, stuff like that. So you can ask me, like, can I do something with this over here? It's like, absolutely, So, I mean, I'll try to give you more levels and verticality. But, I mean, you saw when Jesse was playing, I'm porting in his portrait, like anybody can see it. But when Jesse was playing and he tried to jump up on the table, and I was like, yeah, you can do that. And then he's like, do I get advantage? I'm like, no, it's a table. If you were like up on the bookcase, you climbed up on the bookcase, like that's what you would have advantage. But you're literally, a foot out, 2.5 feet off the ground or whatever. Like that's not that much of an advantage. So you can ask those questions, Swami. I mean, like I said, I picked the maps for a reason. Like I like the way they're laid. Like when I make one, I try to make them laid out in a particular way with trees or whatever.
Like earlier on in those forests, those were perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be out in the woods. Well, not in the woods, but you'll be outside because you're going somewhere in the next like part of the whatever. But I mean, I did write that down. But again, you can ask me whatever question you want. If you see a pillar in the middle of like a desert and you see a fight, you're like, I want to climb on top of that. It's like totally. I think you have a new spell where you can teleport to places too. So you don't even have to climb up there. You could just be like, I want to go up on that pillar so I can get advantage and snipe those guys. It's like totally, They
can't run up and melee you.
Yeah.
And I guess in the tomb, the crypt, we could have like run out and then had a bottleneck so what that does is like you have your tanky folks up in the front, and they're taking the hits, and then all your squishy bits are in the back slinging spells. Like,
Is that good, Swami? Does that make sense? He's not answering. Oh, I thought he's like, no. He didn't say anything. No, but like don't...
Any opportunity that you see when you're selecting the maps to add a tactical element to the engagement so that we have the opportunity, maybe we don't recognize it, that's probably could be the thing, where we're able to take advantage of something, and that way we can, take on fights that are well beyond our capability, unless we do it in a certain way that has, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that could be possible. I'm just throwing out. You'll ask me for feedback, so I'm just like, maybe something like that. Maybe that's a terrible idea. It doesn't work out all the time, of course.
Or maybe we xenomorph somebody from human form into a chicken and shove them in a little hole, so when they go back to their regular size, it kills them.
Yeah.
It did work that one time.
It did work.
It did work really well. And Jesse was the bag man on that. He's like, I got this. Give me that chicken.
I got to leave me that chicken. Yeah. I have an idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Swami, I mean, this is a video game in a sense, but it's also your imagination. Like, I remember very early on the first thing where you were like, you guys were going after some goblins. You're trying to get those soldiers, and you were like, I want to use minor illusion. You were trying to trick one of them.
And burn the cage.
Yeah, it's stuff like that where it's like, start thinking. It's like, I didn't say no. It's like, that's a great idea. Like, start thinking of stuff like that. Like, oh, man, I could...
Yeah, but then the further we got on, we got more to, like, building areas where it was...
You could still knock out a wall or something. I mean, you have spells or, like, you could look at, especially, like, Martok or whatever, or even Uriel and be like...
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, Jesse is the king of doing, like, the crazy shit when it comes to us fighting. Because I remember we were in the middle of one battle, and he goes, I run, jump off of me.
Oh, yeah.
And do, like, a somersault and stab this guy.
He went, like, all Marvel. His character was
and he rolled it.
Just leaping off.
Yeah, he rolled it, and he passed it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I rolled action, and I got advantage on attack, and because that was a back attack. From the front, essentially. Yeah, that was great.
I gotta say, when I was editing the last episode, I forgot that the creature had advantage on you, or he had disadvantage because you did the darkness, and I rolled a nat 20 and a 1. And
that's right, yeah.
And he had 3 attacks, and he hit you once. I forget what he got. But then I rolled, and you're like, oh, he has disadvantage. And I was like, okay, I rolled a nat 20, then I rolled a 1. And then I rolled a nat 20 again, and I rolled a 1 again. And I was like, I've never seen that. You're the luckiest SOB I've ever seen in my life.
I was like, oh, I would have been so dead, too, if it not worked out.
By the way, so, I mean, there's a rule in D&D, which we haven't really talked about, but if, say you have 50 hit points, say the an enemy does 100 hit points to you, you are dead. Dead. No death saving throws, no nothing. You're done. Because it's like they exceeded your hit points by your hit points. So like if you had 25 hit points and they did 50 points of damage, you're dead. So there is a lot of thing of like, you can go negative, but you have to be careful how much you go negative. Like if you have 45 hit points and they did, 70 points, it's like, that's close. That's a little too close for comfort, like somebody come revive me so I can like pop up. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely look at maps and try to change that and make it more vertical. But again, you can do minor illusions or ask questions or like, hey, I want to move this over here. There is spells too that you can use. Now I don't mage hand, but there's like Unseen Servant that can push more objects, so you can make things like in combat or like push things in the way or whatever, so it blocks their view of you or whatever. Darkness is a good one that Jesse has as well that like obscures their vision. There's all that kind of stuff you could do. So I mean, I don't care if you guys do initiative and then chat a little bit and say, hey, I really think you should push that pillar, knock it down because that'll obscure me and I'll hide behind it while you guys run in or whatever. Like I don't
What
care.
about more animals? Does that make sense? Like animals out and about.
Oh, like livestock and stuff?
Birds, pigs, boars, squirrels,
Yeah.
chipmunks.
I mean, the only thing I'd say with that is
Rats.
there is like a war going on right now. So like you guys did go to farms, but those have been taken over by enemies. And if there's a war going on, people usually batten the hatches, or like wild animals will just flee, like in the woods, like they're not going to be around combat. I mean, you do have Feyd. Like he could talk to animals, be like, "Hey, get some of your buddies over here, or whatever." Or are you trying to make a bomb, or what are you trying to with the animals? You gonna strap some explosives to some sheep and then send them in?
I mean, I kill them and have food.
Oh, you could do that. Like when you're on the road, you just make a survival check. Like all of Jesse's characters do that, where they say, "Hey, I'm just gonna go hunting tonight." Yeah, and you make a survival check and then see if you catch anything. And depending on the terrain you're in and how good your check is, hey, you only found, some rabbits. Oh, you found an elk. Like you got really lucky, stuff like that. So you guys, I don't do rations. I probably should do rations more, but
I feel like if we were to do rations, it would be like, all right, you have to leave because it's getting invaded. Like, remember when we were in the boats? We had to get to the other place.
Calamity,
Well,
yeah.
we are running and we're in the ocean, and then that could have been a mini survival game of can you get water and from the rain and capture it and filter it, and then capture food from the sea and figure out how to cook it like that. But that would be like a mini game,
right?
And its own thing. Doing rations just as we're doing stuff, it's sort of just like an extra layer that, unless it's fun, it's not necessary. If it's like done in a fun way, does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah. If it's fun, then let's do that. But if it's just like, oh, okay, we do that sometimes. Like we go to town, we get rations. We just a couple silvers, throw it out there. Our water's refilled and all that stuff. And then if we're not tracking it,
it does work too. Like if you, like you always do, you do your survival check, but you fail, and you're like, I got nothing. If no one else is like, I want to go, it's like, well, then you're all eating rations tonight. You know what I mean? Like, so it is good to have a couple of days of rations. In the campaign we're at now, we're literally in hell when I play Friday, and there's no real food there except chickens, and nothing tastes good. So rations are a big deal if you can buy them or find them or whatever. It's because you're like, oh, these, I can't eat rocks, like I need to eat something. So yeah. Well, the abyssal chickens apparently aren't that great. They don't have heads. If you look at pictures of them, they don't have heads, and they're gross. So let me ask you guys a question. Are you guys enjoying Dragonlance? Do you like the module so far, the adventure, or?
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Swami, anything?
I do.
Did that answer your question, or was that me telling you no when I should?
What about more?
I thought you said you didn't need to take
random
notes.
encounters.
It really seems
Random
like
encounter. Like you know in Skyrim how you'd be running down, you go to like a mission, and then someone like pops up, an assassin, a mugger.
Yeah, I plan those, but also you yourself are a random encounter generator. If you pick a fight with somebody, or fail a perception check, or pickpocket the wrong guard in town, that is a random encounter.
Pickpocket, huh?
He's like, I didn't even know that was a possibility. It's
Sleight of hand.
I don't usually. I mean, I'll definitely do random encounters if you want, but sometimes I feel just like in a video game that it is busy work. Like, you know, are you getting, you know, unless
Side
it,
quest.
yeah, it's like, are you getting information out of this? You may get a little bit of gold. What does it do to push the plot forward? Now, to me, if I start thinking about stuff like that, then it becomes planned. Well, why are these bandits here? Oh, they're trying to stop you from getting to your next destination. Oh, they work with people. Just like those hillmen. I did want to give you guys combat, but I wanted you to show that like some of these hillmen have sided with the dragon army and that they will be a problem. So you fought them, and it wasn't random, but it was a planned encounter to say, this is a threat that's coming up, and you met them a little bit before. You may meet them again. And, you know, it was like, this is another threat. So if you want, I can put that in, but again, based on your actions, if you pick fights with somebody or you fail a perception check, I have planned for that kind of stuff of like, hey, you guys are walking in the woods. You guys have, what is it? You have watch every couple of hours. Give me a perception check. Oh, I failed. Oh, really? Okay. You failed, you know? Oh, I caught it. Okay. Well, then you caught something, you know? Something was up here. Stuff like that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
You sound depressed. What's wrong?
I'm thinking more in the wilderness.
Oh.
Like when we were in the woods, boom, someone sees us light a fire.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of that did happen. Some of you were hiking somewhere, and it did happen early on when we weren't using Tailspire a lot. Rose came upon you, and then some bandits did come upon you. But that was more going with the module, not really. I mean, it wasn't really random. It was a planned part of the module. Like, I do like planning stuff. If you want me to do more random encounters, I will. I think it's really dependent on, since you guys have watch, to see who is making what check. And I do plan for, like, oh, you guys failed, then this is going to happen, you know?
I also do like that sometimes when we can see the encounter, we're not in initiative now, but we like see it like a patrol's coming by or down, like when we're in the castle and the other bird dragon comes back.
Oh,
or
like the wheel watch, yeah.
Yeah, so we're able to like potentially make a trap or prepare a situation to like take advantage of our time. Those are also pretty fun, and we do those.
Yeah, I mean, I like that kind of stuff too. When you guys kind of like, hey, go hide or whatever, or like Swami's like, hey, I'm gonna go make an illusion of like a fire over here. Like he's saying, like, will they see our fire? It's like, well, what if I made an illusionary fire over here, and then they thought we were over there, and then they went over that way, and you could ambush the ambushers, you know, of like, haha, you know, stuff like that, of like stamp the fire out, and then we'll go over there. But I will write that down. I think what I'm hearing is what I'm seeing from you, Swami. Christian, I always call you Swami. Even at work, I'd be like, "What's up, Swami?" Is that you just like combat a lot, and you just want there to be
not just. I mean, yes, combat, yes, but like, bro, chaos. You know what I mean? Like chaos. Say we're in the middle of a battle.
That's you.
And then we come across. We're fighting near a bear and her cubs. And they charge in, or we're walking, and boom, there's like a mountain lion somewhere that just smells us. And
that did happen. I mean, you guys totally failed Wheel Watch. To be honest, you guys should have taken that keep. There was treasure in that keep, and there was things to find out in that keep. But you guys didn't hide any bodies. You walked through. It got reinforced. You guys retreated. You were watching the patrols, but more people came, and like so. There was chaos in that. Like, you know, Feyd came in and
that was
like,
chaotic, yeah.
Feyd was like, hey, we're not here, whatever he said. And it's like, that's what you say? Like, these are like soldiers. And he was like, yep, that's what I say. I'm like, all right. Like, also, you are an agent of chaos, Swami. If you're like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like the way this guy's talking to me. I don't like dealing with these people.
Yeah, I almost fought homeboy or homegirl in the city. And you were like, oh, she a knight, and she's the baddest of the bad.
That doesn't matter. Just because I tell you her station doesn't mean you can't do it. Like I may have used the wrong words and everything, but you're totally capable of
Yeah,
like.
I was about to fireball.
But
that.
you did look at the group and you were like, "Oh, maybe I won't this time." You know, you guys were what, level 2 or something at the time, so you're like
3, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to think about what position you're in at the time. So going up against somebody that's like, in her case, who would have been on a way higher level than us, she could have just went, and then all of us, that would have been it.
And that's when Jesse comes through.
That's when
Eldritch Blast.
yeah. I mean, I'm writing all that down,
Stay on
but
hand.
remember, Swami, I don't, even though it comes off that way, I don't want to dissuade you from doing something. If you wanted to fight Becklin, you're like, screw this, I take a swing at
That's
her.
who it was.
You know?
You're
Like, I want to take a swing at her. It's like, okay, like you can totally do that if you want. But I've noticed in you did look at the group and you were like, eh. And I think Uriel was like, are you sure? And you're like, nah.
All right, listen, guys.
Not the time.
Listen,
and place, you know. But you
listen.
are getting more powerful, so you could be like,
It
I want a
might
piece of that.
get sticky
Like,
here soon. I'm not gonna lie to you. Listen to what he's telling me. It might get real sticky here soon, and I expect you guys to back me up.
well, here's
Hey,
the
I'm
deal.
in it.
Like I don't want to dissuade you, but remember, just like Skyrim, Skyrim's a great game. You love Skyrim.
Yeah,
There was-
I thought I destroyed every city.
Well, I mean, there was consequences for that, right? If you attacked a guard, the whole
Yeah,
guards in the city.
yeah, you killed them all.
And you could do that here if you wanted to start attacking guards. You could have attacked Becklin, but remember when you got
crap.
remember when you got into it with her, there was like 4 other knights behind her. So you were like, yeah, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, like you could hit her if you.
We could also do something like leave and come back tonight.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you can also, or
But
she's
at the
here.
at the same time, kind of like with that, you also got to look at how all the characters are. Like, you might be a chaos person, but I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, there's group
So,
dynamic.
like, your order is chaos, mine is not. So, like, I'm like, that's against what I'm due, man. That's,
Well, I mean,
That means you need to convince his character that it's the right thing to do.
You got
Yeah.
my back or you don't. What? We friends or not? Huh?
we're friends. I guess we're not friends anymore, Uriel.
I guess we're not. I
Look,
see how you are.
Becklin's incompetent. We're gonna do everyone a favor.
Yeah.
You better watch your back.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought that's what I was trying to do, I apologize. Again, I don't want to dissuade you from doing
goodness.
anything, but again, there is consequences for your actions, and you are an agent of chaos. If you're like, I don't like this guard, I passed. Like, if a guard's giving you a hard time for being a mage, you're like, I passed my trials. I am a mage. Stop getting like I'm gonna fight him. It's like, okay, like you totally have the right to do that. You don't have to just sit and take it. I do think you being with the group though and looking at them going, all right, not the time and place, So, yeah, that's
yeah, you just tell them to meet you behind the woodshed later on.
That's
tonight.
right. After this module, obviously you guys want to take to 20, so I'm going to do that. And I was trying to read another module to be like, okay, here's where we're going to take it from there. But I was talking to my wife about this, and I know she's my soulmate because I can rant about D&D and she'll listen to me, and she doesn't fall asleep. So that's obviously we're never getting divorced. But my thing was, I said, if I'm spending all this time planning all of this, I need to make it my own. So after this module, it's probably going to be my creation. Again, I've read some other Dragon Queen things to give an idea, basically just her stat block. But I think I didn't want to read too much because, again, I got into this thing of I do feel with this. I mean, I have ideas for your guys' backstory and all that, but I feel sometimes with modules, you're trying to shoehorn stuff in that doesn't really belong, and there's no pacing for it. Where if I plan a campaign from the ground up, I can put your guys' backstory in a spot. I can put, a cool character moment, and I can do that here, but it's very hey, this still has to happen, this plot. Where if you're doing it on your own, you can pace that out however you want. And so, again, this is how I ranted to my wife, and she's like, I love you very much. And I was like, thank you for letting me rant over. But yeah, I mean, if I'm going to spend all this time doing the maps, which I've imported some, but I've made some as well, and planning encounters and the flow of the adventure, I kind of need to make it my own. So, and I've already made a pitch deck for what we could do after this, like with slides. I have like a slide presentation. So, don't worry, it's only 8 slides right now, so it's not like a 30-minute presentation on, games. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
With these hands.
I mean, this is
Created it all.
these. I mean,
I did
normally
it all with
our.
these fingers. There was a lot of typing and copying, pasting, and changing and stuff.
I mean, normally, you have a environment or a world that you have stuff for, right? That comes from somewhere else, and then you almost always create a story of your own devising. I think we've only done modules a couple times, right? We've done this one, and then the Blood Hunter.
The Blood Hunter was like my creation, but we had you guys know, Jesse and Todd, there was like problems with that campaign, like with different formats, and then we had a problem player, and then how that came to be and stuff like that. And then I don't know, I may be presumptuous, but it seemed like with that, I don't know if you guys were totally in love with your Blood Hunters at the end, if you like really had a strong connection, or at least a class. Maybe you like your characters, but not the class. Because it seemed like at the end it was very much like a math equation of I need to do this for this to happen so I can do this, and then I don't know.
Well, that was very much how they were. I mean, when you think about it, whenever we went into battle, remember we're rolling dice, and I'm doing this, and I'm getting this, and now I can't put my swords down, or else I lose this, and it takes a whole nother.
Yeah.
And so.
I think too, what I noticed when I was editing it, there was a lot of the same beats of like, oh, they're going back to the keep for some reason. I wanted them to have a base. Like some of that is, people always talk about this as a hobby, and then if you do it professionally, like obviously we're getting some more views on YouTube, and I'm not saying we're going to blow the doors off, but it is a process.
Yes, we are.
Okay, Swami. Well, what I'm saying is there's a difference between doing this at home and making this a performance of like an arc, and that all happening of like, you need to treat it differently or whatever. And so I think if I knew what we're gonna do, if we're gonna do something after this, hopefully it would be like, okay, well, after the module ends, I'm gonna make it my own because I want to have more authorship over it. And I want you guys to... I still want to get to 20, because I think that would be interesting. Like, this Shadow... Like, to be totally honest, this campaign's called Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So if you can just imagine how it's going to end. That's the name of the module, is the Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So,
What about finding, like, fruits and mushrooms and stuff along the way that gives us boosts?
Crafting.
I have a thing I will show you. I will send to you that D&D Beyond wrote up about plants and flowers to use in crafting. And some of that again is nebulous. We've never sat down to make a list of here's what you can make with an herbalism kit. Here's what you can make with an alchemist kit. We have not done that. In the new rules in 2024, they have. Like with an alchemist kit, you can make so many potions of healing, and it tells you how to do that. You have to have tool proficiencies, and then you can do it as part of the thing.
Ada Rooney.
This
Hey,
also
sorry I'm
like
late, guys.
You're good.
no worries. When we went in there and I was talking to the leathersmith about actually getting better leather armor, he was like, "Oh, well, you'll need to get these items for me to be able to do that." But then we actually never.
Yeah, you never went back, and some of that's my fault because I didn't. I remember giving you that list, but I didn't follow up on it. Of like, hey,
you never actually gave me the list of the things you said you would let me know, but then
right.
Everything went on, and it was just like, yep, nope, still gonna keep this.
I still have the list. Yeah, like it's still somewhere. I got it.
And yeah, part of that's like, we'll make a statement like, for my guy, early on, it's like, all right, I need to get heavy armor around this time. Otherwise, the build kind of struggles to be a tank, right?
Yeah.
And then for me, that totally worked out. Like I'm kind of at level 6. I'm about to receive that. I think that's a good stage.
Well, and after looking at like when last week when we were talking afterwards about the builds, for me, being sorcerer and being like a blade singer, the whole doing the like fighter for like 2 or 3 levels, and then switching over really would have been a much better thing, because I mean, being squishy and trying to fight with swords don't.
Well, I think too, you know what I've noticed is that I've read a lot of like behind the scenes of like actual, like YouTubers who do this for a living, and there's always stuff they do behind the scenes. They do like 2 sessions behind the scenes, and usually even like Critical Role and stuff, when they start filming, the characters are at level 2, and that's because they have meetings of like, hey, this is a campaign we want to, here's my idea, which is part of the slideshow I have. Here's the ideas I have for this. What, it'll be like, what system do you want to use, and then what kind of game do you want to, what kind of story do you guys want to play in or tell, and then they do that on those shows. I mean, obviously they have way more production value and stuff, but they do stuff this without recording it to see if the character speaks to you, and like, you could have done a couple levels in Blade Singer and been like, this isn't for me, like,
Well, I mean, honestly, 2 of my favorite ones was my satyr,
yeah,
my rogue, and my monk.
Yeah, I mean, it was
because that monk, even though like no armor, no nothing, I got us out of a lot of shit by just fucking.
You soloed a bunch of shit, and all of us were like dead.
my favorite moment with your rogue was when you guys were, I think it was Jesse's character and Wes's character were in the bar. You were in a restaurant where people they left to go pray, and Jesse's character and Wes's character were like, we're gonna rob him blind, and your character, even as the rogue, were like, what? And you're like, yeah, we're just gonna run through it. And you're like, you guys are idiots. And they were like, why? And it's like, they're going to come back. We're the only ones here. They're going to know who stole from us. And I remember both in character, Jesse's character and Wes's character was like, that's actually a really good idea. Like, we shouldn't do that. I was like laughing.
I guess
like,
we'll not do that.
Yeah, that was, why did
it's like, wait a minute. Why is the road the
Yeah,
voice
and I think
of
you
reason?
said that too. You're like, why am I the voice of reason with you guys? Like, that was stupid, like, yeah.
That was a fun campaign. I like that.
Yeah, or when everything was about to blow up, and I said, "Hey, why don't y'all join me in my little room?" Rope trick.
We're like, "Oh shit! I'll get up that rope."
That rope trick is like a really great.
That thing! If it wasn't for that rope trick, we would have all been dead on one of those.
Several times.
Yeah, it would have been really bad.
For the other 2 guys, so we're. A different campaign. Basically, there was a giant explosion, and then we went to an extra-dimensional pocket while everything burned and blew up or whatever.
It was pretty
and
great,
then we,
actually.
Yeah, we die because we were gonna die.
Well,
then
what?
Yeah, there was no getting away from the explosion.
There was no getting away from it.
What killed it for me was it was actually a win button. Once you guys did that, I think you did it 2 other times during a massive explosion, and I was like, oh, yeah, I probably should have thought of something to negate that, but you guys just kind of...
It's a tool. It's once you have magic, it's hard to
that was
figure out how to have a problem.
That was the joke in the D&D movie. Magic doesn't solve everything. Well, can't we do X, Y, and Z? Actually, I do have a spell for that. That was a joke. I like that. Fade, we're just talking about stuff that you want to see improved. We're still on, I think, that. Swami wants to see more... He wants to see more random encounters.
Tactical combat.
He wants more like tactical combat, like verticality and like messing with the environment, blowing up barrels, stuff like that. And that's about, I think, it. I mean, did you have anything you wanted to add, Faith?
Honestly, I'm having fun with the way things are as they are right now.
Nice. Yeah, I just told everybody that after this module ends, I was going to do stuff we're still gonna get to 20, but I was gonna plan my own thing because it seems like, I'm taking a lot of time and energy to plan this, and you kind of got to make it your own after a while. Of like, I can't keep reading because I feel like I am trying to jam things into the story that don't really, not that they don't belong, but it's like, okay, so how long is this going to go on? And then we go back to the module. It always seems like it's like those time quests in video games where they're like, hey, the world's going to blow up in 72 hours, but it's an open world game, so do whatever you want. You're like, but I thought you said the world was going to blow up in 72 hours. Shouldn't I get on that? And it's like
500
maybe.
hours into the game, you're like
400 hours. Like, all right.
That was like Cyberpunk of like, your head's going to blow up. You got a bomb in your head. You're like, I'm going to go get tattoos, Or like, what, like, that doesn't seem like that's that important. Like, maybe you shouldn't go get the tattoos.
I'm going to go get grandma's
I gotta
pills.
get it done before my head blows up. I've always wanted it.
Yeah. I got to go. Oh, man, I'm going to go talk to Keanu Reeves more. This is great. Yeah, stuff like that. Where you're like, man, I think maybe you don't have to talk to Keanu Reeves so much.
I mean, but isn't that like the pinnacle, being able to talk to Keanu
That's
Reeves?
true. That's true. That is kind of the pinnacle of his.
I never played Cyberpunk.
Well, it was good. I liked it.
Was it?
Yeah, I know.
I know it flopped super hard, and then they did a massive update and overhauled it.
Yeah, I heard the new stuff they got is good. By the way, Fade, I put in the general chat. I put a picture of the new overlay. So this is more Tailspire than it is anything else because, like it doesn't. It's
General
just,
chat.
Yeah, it's just a general chat. So there's no real like. It just felt kind of restrictive.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I got one thing.
Yeah.
I still want to know why Swami got a teacher, and I still haven't seen mine.
Oh, yours is on its way. Don't worry. Plus, his teacher ditched. Or you haven't seen his teacher in a bit. Remember, they went one way during the quote unquote.
But they were there.
That's true. They went somewhere during the zombie apocalypse, and then Swami went the other way. Sometimes being a mentor is knowing when to let go and let God. And, if you love it, set it free type thing. They'll come back. I know where they're at and stuff. So.
And I'm just going to say, Swami, I already got your back. I pulled your ass out from underneath all that rubble that you fell under.
All right, so when I go crazy in a town, I expect you to be going crazy with me.
I mean, that's a different story. I got your back.
Well, the joke is, Swami, if your character does die, you just make the cousin of your character, and then Swami left a journal for him, and then you could just say, you guys don't need to tell me anything. My cousin left a journal. I've totally caught up. We just keep going. We don't need
Instead of Swami, it's Swimmy.
Yeah. You change like one vowel or something. It's Swoomy or something.
I'm just going to keep my name for every character. Yeah. Wait, he was O'Grady too. We're all O'Grady!
Yeah. It's the O'Grady clan. That guy was a nerd.
Now, if it was O'Doyle, you could just be like, O'Doyle rules!
Yeah.
O'Grady rules!
Steve Holt. Yeah. Like from Arrested Development, yeah.
I had an idea where it was you play like this goblin tribe that's being like you have an evil wizard overlord, and you'll only have one hit point. But every time you die, another one portals in, and it's just... over and over, and they all have different names, and they're all kind of meeting you for the first time, but their instructions are just to follow you guys around.
Yeah.
So you just come up with different personalities every time you die. So every time you get hit, you die, but then you instantly summon back.
You get another.
And then you get another turn, and your hit points is the number of goblins that are available.
Oh man, that would drain all my creativity in like one episode.
I know.
Yeah.
And like I'm out of voices.
I'm so tired. Yeah.
It's like, and you get hit for 40 hit points. So it's like, all right, he's dead because he has one hit point, and then another one comes up. It's like, hey guys, let's go.
No, yeah. And then when the one portal's in, he just has like a mustache. It's like that.
Yeah, he has like a mustache.
Yeah, he's like, I'm way different than that guy. I have a mustache.
Picks up all the gear from the dead goblin, puts on his stuff, just shows up naked.
Yeah, you're like, what?
That's like if I die, I'm just going to come back instead of Uriel. I'm going to be like Juriel.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be like, yeah, we cousins. I'm from down south.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The
No,
next
it
one
works.
would be Duriel.
Yeah. Yeah, it works though. It totally works.
Mama says quit no job in this family, so I'm here.
I did like that
That's
last.
right.
I did like that
We
last.
gotta.
That last episode when Todd was like, "What do you mean, you people?" And I was like, "They're from the South." That's what I'm saying. There's people from the South. I do find it weird watching actual play D&D where everybody tries out a new accent. No matter what actual play D&D you're watching, they always got to do new characters and new accents. And then they roll into like a fantasy town, and there's people from all over doing like Russian accents and French accents. And then, like in Critical Role, Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey are from Texas. So one of his characters right now is a Texan drawl, where he's like, "Y'all got any horse liveries here?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's weird." Like, cause he's just like, "How y'all doing?" And I'm like, "All right." And then he's gone because the episode I'm listening to, him and Laura just had their baby. It's an old episode, but they're like, "All right, this is what Fjord sounds like," and they're like doing his voice, and I'm like, "Oh, there's gonna be an angry text later." He's like, "That's not what I sound like. I don't sound like that at all."
No, you sound exactly like
That's exactly what you sound like. Anything else? I think we covered. I took notes, Swami. I did take notes. See, I got a notepad here. I took the notes. I wrote down the stuff. Again,
That looks like a shopping list.
it did. It's for Swami. I gotta get tactical combat next time when I'm at the store. I gotta get exploding barrels. You know, all this stuff for the combat. Yeah, again, starting out the next thing, it's literally not literal, but it is your characters will have R&R. So if you want to go through the town, if there's anything you guys want to buy, if there's anything you guys want to, any shop you want to go to, anybody you want to talk to, you have time to go do that. I think I told you before, Martok, that you actually got your armor requisition. So you can go to the blacksmith and get that. Uriel was behind you. Swami was following a glowing hummingbird, and
probably we'll go to a flea market after for
there is a town,
Uriel's.
Yeah, there's a town market. There's like a flea market and there's like a food market.
I still like how everybody got. Swami got a hummingbird that took off. What did you get, O'Grady?
Shit, I think I just got mad.
No, you got to scroll with the painting of a bunny on it, like a pink
Yeah,
bunny.
the bunny.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I got a bag of sand.
You got a bag of sand with sand. There's
With
sand.
sand.
There's sand outside the bag of sand and a small bag of sand.
Got a bronze horse charm.
I thought you left that on the statue and
He took it.
you took it on the way back out, right?
No, he
Yeah,
grabbed it after we dealt with the horse.
Yeah,
I
but
grabbed it off the statue.
when you were going in Solomon's thing, you hit it. You hooked it on the Dragonlance thing, and then I was like, "No, it's a statue." Like, because you were trying to activate the Dragonlance, and you were like, "I want to take it." And I was like, "It's literally just a statue of him holding the Dragonlance." And you're like, "Oh," but I think on your way out, you grabbed the horse charm again, because you hung it on there to activate it. But on the way out, I think you grabbed it again.
Oh, okay.
Because
I have it in my inventory.
Yeah. Yeah, because you tried to hang it on there, but then I was like, I explained to you, I was like, no, it's literally just a statue with him holding a Dragonlance. You're like, oh, then if it's not doing anything, then I'm taking
it back. Yeah,
it was a puzzle game that wasn't the solution to the puzzle, so you took your puzzle piece back. You know, like when you're trying to jam like a key in something or whatever for like Resident Evil, and you're like, this isn't working. This isn't what I want to do. So, yeah. Well, guys, anything else before we stop recording and such? Is that we're good? Everybody's good?
Oh, maybe some puzzles.
Oh, okay.
The room is locked. There's 3 symbols on the top.
Okay. Yeah, you do
like
that.
some puzzles.
Not like a lot, just here and there.
Oh yeah.
Well, to be honest, O'Grady had one of those and failed his puzzle. There was a couple that some people did, but they didn't roll well. So again,
That's not really saying much, considering like all of us has been rolling like crap.
Really crap. Well, it's always it seems like it's hit and miss. Like sometimes you do good with the skills, and then sometimes you don't. So
Yeah. Sometimes our investigation check is not good. It's like, it just looks like a room.
Well, it
It's like-
kind of sucked with O'Grady's thing because it was literally written in Druidic, and he's the only one that speaks Druidic, and he got like a 2. And I'm like, I was like, you kind of, I don't, nobody can help. There's no help action with the language they can't speak, so kind of on your own, bro. Like, yeah.
But you could do something that's not role based too. Like add a couple of them where we ourselves are just getting described the environment and then figure it out. Like, there's sunlight coming through a shaft.
Yeah, I don't do that.
And then there's a mirror, and then over there's a mirror.
Yeah.
And then
if we turn this mirror this way and it reflects off of that, then boom, 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 everything is.
I could do those, and in fact, I think actually after the R&R, because you guys start traveling again, there is actually some things where they're like, in the module, they're like, you find this thing and you get it to work with a dice check. And I'm like, I was thinking this could be a puzzle. Not like a hard puzzle, but, you could do more than, like you said, just roll a dice and be like, you did it.
I think it could be attached to, like, the tactical gameplay, too. So, like, let's say we have a room full of monsters, and we learned the day before in town that there's a legend of these monsters, and they can't come out because they die instantly to sunlight. And then we have all these mirrors, and it's just like, we could just mirror the sunlight.
You're really
and
liking that
mirror, or you could just fight them by hand, which is still possible.
Right.
But it'll be a rough fight.
You guys do have a priest with you too, and if you guys want to talk to Adric about stuff, I know the last combat you had with Sarlamir and the lieutenant people, I was going to give you a little information about that because while you guys are doing your thing, Adric will just be studying in the library because everything that's happened kind of sparked a memory for him. But if you guys want to know more about, like, you guys have fought enough undead, like, a little bit, above board about radiant damage, you're like, that seemed to be the bee's knees. And I know, Uriel, you, like, did something and were like, oh, man, I thought that was going to do more. But you got to remember, it's the radiant damage that hurts him, and your attack did a bonus of radiant damage. So your attack didn't do a lot, but the radiant damage part of it did. It just didn't do, like, a lot of damage.
Because, like, most of the mage doesn't have any radiant anything.
Yeah, that's mostly for, like, clerics and, paladins. And I think the ancient druids, the Order of the Ancients, maybe they do a little radiant damage. It's and like arcane tricksters, I mean, they're basically clerics. Or, the trickster cleric, they basically do some radiant damage with their spells, And then I think some classes can switch their element of, like, you'll get a choice. Like you do with your class, do I want to do necrotic or radiant damage with this attack or whatever, you can switch, It just sucks sometimes for spells that isn't an option because you're a spellcaster, you're not holy or whatever.
Yeah.
But also...
His chromatic orb doesn't have a radiant option. It's just like fire and ice.
Also,
the last thing I want to be is a holy mage.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a bad day for me.
You bleeding out? Yeah, like you just bleed down on the battlefield. So many holes. Also, remember, you guys did get your weapons from Demigod. So if you want to figure out a way to talk to your Demigod and be like, hey, man, fighting a lot of undead, could you, juge my sword up or, like, run some Lysol over it? I don't know what you got to do, but make it so it does radiant damage. I don't know.
True that. Yeah, and we could also just tell Joe, hey, I want to have something that can do radiant damage, and just remind him a little bit, and then let him add that to the story somehow. Add it as an option.
Well, I kind of just gave you a hint.
That, like, right, no, yeah. Yep, yeah.
Yeah. You know what you could do is just remind Joe that we want to do radiant damage. I was like, well, I did give you guys a hint. There's some people you could talk to be like... Yeah.
Just like how I kept harassing about the armor, and then that's
well, I remembered that better than I remembered Uriel's armor request, but I did remember yours, and I was like, well, they've been through enough, and they're the module goes to 10, they're at 6, so they're doing really well, and like you did ask for the thing at like level 3, and it's been several levels in a few weeks, and so like you earned your requisition for your armor, so.
But I did keep bringing it up.
Yeah. Not again. I wasn't like, I wasn't trying to stonewall you. I was like, when is a good spot? No. But you get R&R and stuff like that. So it's like, well, now you can put it on because the next part is going to be dangerous, So.
Yeah. At no point was I ever. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, if that's all, you know,